Samples of moon dust collected by Neil Armstrong during the historic Apollo 11 mission have been sold for $500,000 at an auction in New York. It was estimated to cost $1.2 million. Now, this is the only known samples of lunar dust sold legally with authentication from NASA. Our correspondent, Susan Tehrani, brings you an exclusive report on the significance of the sale.
This is the room where the auction took place, and the highlight was the lunar dust, the first ever sample collected from the surface of another world. Today at the auction, an anonymous buyer paid over $500,000 for the lunar dust, more than 50 years after astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to set foot on the moon.
10 minutes after landing on the surface of the moon, Armstrong gathered a small contingency sample of lunar dust before carrying out the rest of his activities in accordance with NASA protocol. The idea was that if the mission was to be cut short for any reason, they would have that sample with them to return to Earth.
I think the most important aspect is that it's from the contingency sample. It's the first time humanity had made it to the moon, and they brought a piece of the moon back with them. So that is really like the key. And I think that's what really connects people to this and with that event.
The particles for sale could be found in a blue plastic container on 5 aluminum discs, each topped with a small piece of carbon tape, which was used to retrieve moon dust from a collection bag. After years of sordid sagas, the dust is now allowed to be owned by a private citizen. The dust samples are the only known samples of lunar dust sold legally after being authenticated by NASA.
Lunar samples are property of the U.S. government, property of the people. Because this sold through a government sale, had fallen into private hands. It's very unusual. I've never seen another instance where this has happened.
In addition to the samples of moon dust, Bonham's space history sale included a fragment from Sputnik 1, which was launched in space in 1957 by the Soviet Union and became the first artificial satellite in Earth's orbit. According to Bonham's, the recovered rocket part is valued at $80,000 to $120,000. Other artifacts which were up for auction included a mock-up of the first American-made satellite to orbit Earth and a map of the moon signed by 15 Apollo astronauts, former U.S. President Richard Nixon, and Wernher von Braun, the famed architect of the U.S. space program. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.